late last night or just round about Jummah time and have not registered, please go and register at break time. There's several reasons for wanting to register. Next speaker, our subject of the next topic is about the theory of Miraj and spiritual enlightenment. Our Ustaad is Ustaad Abdur Raheem. Ustaad Abdur Raheem is from London, and just a little bit of background about him. In addition to being Ustaad and teaching this program in the Itikaf, he is a police officer in the London Metropolitan Police. And he also holds gatherings and nasiya in his own sort of locality as well. So a lot of brothers are benefiting from him in London. Why we tell you this is not to impress you, but to impress upon you that a lot of the brothers who are the ustads here are working voluntarily, and a lot of them come from very serious professional and business backgrounds. Because I was talking to a brother yesterday, and he said that one of the misconceptions that they had, that anybody involved in deen, they must be just full-time in deen, they know nothing else, they're probably detached with the dunya, and we can't relate to them. And that's why we sort of tell you that, look, this path is open to anybody, no matter what business or professional or job background that you are. It's not that, look, as soon as you come into the path of Allah, then you have to cut your ties with dunya and you have to just stay in the masjid 24/7. No, it's not like that. So if anything, if once you come towards Allah and come on this path, the dunya becomes easier as well, which a lot of brothers will already tell you from experience. So without further ado, I want to invite our Ustaad Abdur Raheem to come forward and deliver the program. Jazakallah. Just another reminder again for anybody still sitting upstairs, please come down. And also I've been requested to ask the brothers at the front to move their benches slightly forward from that side a little bit and this side. So if there's more people coming in, they can sneak into the back without any difficulty. As you can see, there's a lot more brothers here today. Just a little bit more forward, so.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah wa kafa wa salamun ala ibadihi allazina astaghfa, khususan ala sayyidi rasuli wa khataman anbiya wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli wa nusallim ala rasulihi al-kareem. Amma ba'd, fa'auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا حبيب الله السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. We begin by the blessed name of Allah Azza wa Jal, who has blessed us to come to know Him, to be in existence, to be in this life, to be in the ummati of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to be in the month of Ramadan and still have life in order to change. And all salam and durood upon the most beloved, the most perfect of all beings, which is none other than the greatest of messengers, Sayyidina Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and to all of the prophets and messengers from Adam alayhi salam to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and to all those who have followed the blessed ways, all the companions, all the family of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the pious and righteous, especially to our masters and mashayikh, Sayyidina Abdul Aziz al-Dabbar rahmallah, and to our teacher Sayyidina Ahmad Dabbar, who has shown us not only how to live, but how to follow the blessed footsteps of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, physically and spiritually. And this is the topic today of how you can travel spiritually to Allah Azza wa Jal. So everything has a purpose in life. From the sun, it gives light, it makes the plants grow. From the clouds descends rain, which benefits the creation. To the trees that give oxygen, enables us to breathe. To the smallest of things, the honeybee, which makes honey, which pollinates the plants. So everything in this world has a purpose in life. Allah Azza wa Jal has created all beings with a purpose, with a sense of direction. So the question to ourselves is, what is our purpose of life? What was the purpose of our existence in this life? And in the last few days, you have been listening to this of who you are. Where are you traveling to? What is your purpose of life? So we'll touch on some of the aspects of this. But we should understand, can everyone see the screen? So our purpose of life is ultimately, and this is, you can read it as well, but it is to reach the divine presence of Allah Azza wa Jal, to be in His company, spiritually, mentally, physically, as though He Azza wa Jal is seeing us, hearing us. So our whole aim, which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam shown us the greatest of ways, is to follow his characteristics, and his footsteps. This cannot be done without following someone. And whom we should follow is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We should love him more than anyone, more than our parents, more than any creation in dunya. So the Prophet ﷺ shown us not only the physical aspect of how to live, how to deal with people, how to even go to the bathroom, how to sleep, how to eat, how to drink. So the whole lifestyle was an example for everyone. There is a lesson in the life of the Prophet ﷺ that gives us teachings on how to live and how to become successful. So to attain the love of Allah Azza wa Jal, you have to truly follow and love the Prophet ﷺ. So there is two aspects in the life of the Prophet ﷺ. So there's two aspects. You have heard one aspect in the last few days, the physical aspects in the life of the Prophet ﷺ. And this is referred to as the prophetic seerah. How they lived, how they conducted their life with people, the interactions, the characteristics. So this can be summed with what you've learnt. So from this, the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ has mentioned that where we have come from. So just to refresh this aspect, can someone tell me where we are from? Are we from Bangladesh? Are we from Pakistan? London? Where are we really from? Where is our real citizenship? We're only here really for visitation. Brother Tanim, can you tell me where are we from? The world of spirits. MashaAllah. So in the world of spirits, this is before we came in this world. There we made a promise with Allah Azza wa Jal. So Allah Azza wa Jal created our spirits, and it was all based on love. Always remember, based on love. This was the reason of creation. Love. Because Allah Azza wa Jal loved himself, and he wanted others to benefit from this love. He wanted to benefit others and to know his qualities and the love that he has. So we took a promise. And do we know what this promise was? Brother Riyaz, do you know what this promise was? Sorry? That we worship him. But what am I looking for? It was the freedom of choice. You didn't have to worship him, but he gave you that freedom to make that choice whether to worship him or not. Who wants this choice? All the creation denied. All the creation said, "Oh Allah, we do not want this." The mountains, the skies said, "Oh Allah, we do not want this such responsibility." Because Allah Azza wa Jal warned us as well. They said, whoever takes this responsibility, this amana, this freedom, this gift, that if they follow this gift, I will reward them unlike any other reward before. But if you fail this, you take this honor, you take this trust, and you do not use it the way I told you, then you'll be punished unlike any other being before. Can you imagine that scenery? Everyone was scared. But we made a choice. And it's mentioned how foolish we were to make that choice. So who were the two creations that accepted this freedom of choice? The jinns and the humans. Alhamdulillah. Two creations took this freedom of choice. The human beings and the jinnats. Two creations. We have the freedom of to do good and bad. This is why you see in this life, people are doing what they wish. Some are believing, some are disbelieving. Because why? Because this is the will of Allah Azza wa Jal. Because they made everyone have that freedom of choice. So there was also during that the testification of all the prophets and messengers. They also made a promise. So we took a promise from Allah that we'll worship Him. We all did. But also there was a promise with the prophets and messengers that they made, that if the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam comes into your life, you must help him. You must support him. And all Anbiya Alayhi Salam, all the prophets and messengers made that promise. That we will support Sayyidina Muhammad Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam if they come into our life. So we all made a promise. We all were given the freedom of choice. And thereafter, we took another covenant. And this was a covenant of obedience. So one was freedom of choice. Who wants the freedom of choice? And the human beings and jinn said, give it to us, Allah. We want this. Then Allah Azza wa Jal gathered us in the world of spirits and took this promise. Alastu bi rabbikum. Who is your Lord and Creator? Every one of us who is here now, and the previous nation, and the people who will be coming, the human beings and jinn, said, oh Allah, you are our Lord. We'll worship you. So there was a promise. Then the prophets and messengers made a promise. Then Allah Azza wa Jal took another covenant, the fourth one. And that was, they warned us, do not follow the footsteps of shaitan. Do not follow the devil. Imagine, this was the last thing that Allah Azza wa Jal said to us. We value people's last words. Our parents' last word, what they said to us before they passed. Our grandfather's words. People who mean something to us, we value their words, but especially the last word. And what was it from Allah Azza wa Jal, the last gathering that we took place? It was, do not follow the devil. Do not follow the footsteps of shaitan. And then after, we came in this world. And now we are in this world. Allah Azza wa Jal gave us a body. So we are not the body. We are the spirit inside that body. This is why when someone dies, they do not say, this is Bashir, this is Abdullah, but they say, this is the body of Bashir, this is the body of Abdullah. So where is Bashir? Where is Abdullah? He's passed, he's gone to the next world. So this life is temporal life. Our life is really with Allah Azza wa Jal. This is where we are only supposed to return to. So we are given life in this world, short time before death. Some live 50, 60, 70, some even young. Last week we visited the grave. Young people there. So our life there's no guarantee on how long we will live. Everything has a purpose in life. The sun, the moon, there's a day and night. Why is there a day and night? Allah Azza wa Jal could have just made it day every day. Why is there sleep? Why is there a moon? Why is there darkness? It's to show us of time. It's a new beginning, new day. One day has gone. New day has begun. If you had a bad day yesterday, today is a new day of beginning. Start fresh. It's never too late to begin. You coming here today is the beginning of your life. Think of this. Yes, we've been living for many years in this dunya, but you should take it as every day comes, and it's a new beginning to you and me. It's a new chance that Allah Azza wa Jal has given. Like the sun rises, is that like the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal is rising for you to rise from your sleep of heedlessness and worship Allah Azza wa Jal. So everything has a lesson in this life. So we are tested in this life through our limbs, our body. Like a few days, Ustaad Ghulam Ali and other Ustads have mentioned the organs. So we are tested through our tongue, our hands, our feet, our private parts, our organs, ears, all 7 organs of the body. The whole body is a test, and it one day will become a witness for us or against us. Remember, we are only using our body. It's like when, I know Eid is coming, many people have already probably hired cars now for Eid. Many youngsters, they hire cars for Eid, they hire cars for their proms. Now they have this prom nights like America. The other day someone was saying they hired a Ferrari for prom. Just to arrive in a scene in a car and leave in a scene so people see that, the entrance. So like this car, if something happened to this car, then whoever you bought or hired this car from, you have to pay them. And I remember someone told me that the deposit of hiring one car, especially like a Ferrari or something, is like 5 grand just to hire. 5 grand. If there's any scratch, that 5 grand is gone. So someone, he hired a car for Eid. It was a very, very long time ago, I know. And he came on Eid. He came with the family. He only came with one person because there's only 2 people can actually go in this Ferrari. He came with him and his friend. So the night finished, they went to the relative's house. And they, are you not going home? Oh no, I'm thinking of staying in the Ferrari tonight because I paid so much money. Also, if in case someone steals it, I will lose my 5 grand as well. So imagine people take care of something so much, but it's only it's only got an engine and it will take you from A to B, and it costs maybe 100 just to actually put fuel in there maybe. For 1 week it will cost you more than £100 just to feed this. So this is regards to dunya. People take care of such things which is hired to them. So he stayed all night in this Ferrari in case someone steals it or puts scratch at night time because they're jealous or something. So Allah Azza wa Jal has really given us, every one of us, our own Ferraris. This is our body. Is more valuable than any Ferrari, more valuable than any car, any property. Because it belongs to Allah Azza wa Jal. This body is not mine. It belongs to Allah Azza wa Jal. This tongue, this eyes, These hands, all limbs belongs to Allah Azza wa Jal. We are only here to use it until death. And then when we return, everything will be checked. Like when you return a car, the examiner checks if there's any scratches or anything, and he makes notes, and then he penalizes the deposit. So we will be checked in the day of judgment, how we used our tongue, our eyes, our body. Either it will be against us or with us. Meaning that they will say, this person has used it wisely. Oh Allah, I have been used wisely. The hands will speak. The body will speak. But you will be silent on that day. So use your body wisely in this dunya. And this is a test for us. The limbs are a test. Are the witnesses. They are witness to us. So we mentioned about this, and we should always return and concentrate on our limbs, especially the tongue. And it was mentioned to you about the 5 amals. The 5 amals. So one of them is the tongue, which is you should safeguard. So after a person corrects his beliefs, he learns the knowledge, then really he purifies his body, his mind, he's praying towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the doors of more closeness to the spiritual realm is more open for him. People want to see the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but yet they use their eyes in seeing darkness, seeing sinful scenes. They want to speak to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but yet they speak words of darkness, words against the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So how can we have this spiritual opening if we are using our bodies in this way? So the first thing is a person purifies his body, then a level of purity can actually be reached. You have to remember that every body, every eye, there's a veil. Every sin creates a veil in front of us. This is why we cannot see the unseen world. This is why we cannot see when people tell us in the stories of Akhirah, the stories of the grave, the scenes that are coming. It doesn't penetrate in our hearts because it hasn't penetrated in our tongue. We have not brought the love of the Prophet ﷺ in our tongue, our eyes, our body. So this is the spiritual, the physical aspect. So this is like the summary. The Prophet ﷺ has shown us the physical way of how to live our life. The journey of everyone, like we mentioned, it's been mentioned to you in the previous discourses. These are the preconditions that we should fix. We should correct our beliefs, our fiqh, know who Allah is, how to worship Him, how to do uzu, ghusl, physically the do's and don'ts. Repentance, ask forgiveness from Allah Azza wa Jal. Tawbah. Because if we do not ask tawbah, if we do not ask forgiveness from Allah Azza wa Jal, we violated His rights or the rights of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that we cannot progress. Or the rights of the creation. In the day of judgment, there will be many people who will have mountains of good deeds. Mountains. They'll look at their mountains as, I have a lot of good deeds that are done. But after a while, there will be queues of people that will be coming. And they will say, you said this to me in this dunya, you backbited about me. So now what's going to happen? The currency in Akhirah is reward or sin. You either take the reward from someone or you give them your sin, or vice versa. This is the exchange rate in Akhirah. So the person will say, what are you going to give me? Because you backbited about me. So the person will have to give some of his reward to them. Or he will take some of the sins of that person and put it in his weight or his scale. So after a while, the mountains of deeds will slowly come to an end, and he'll end up with nothing. This is why people will run around claiming things, even go against their own children, even against their own parents, daughters, sons, because they have no deeds. Running around trying to fund some deeds. So we should repent now. Many people will be punished who have died with Iman, but because of repentance, they did not repent in this life. So everyone should repent. Especially Ramadan, like the hadith of Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salam has mentioned that if someone does not be forgiven in Ramadan, may that person be destroyed. So if you are not being forgiven in Ramadan, what hope will you have in dunya? The month of mercy, the month of rahmah. Imagine, so much mercy is there and you don't be forgiven, you don't ask Allah Azza wa Jal forgiveness. This is the best time to ask. If you haven't done this, then truly learn from the ustads how to actually repent truly, and there's 4 conditions of that. And striving, you should always put effort. Without effort, you won't reach anywhere. Without effort, without striving, you'll be wherever you are. So these are the physical aspects, as we mentioned, purifying the tongue, the ears, stomach, hands, feet, private part. So in the life of the Prophet ﷺ, they mention one should, physical aspect, purify his body, his mind, his soul, meaning his nafs, and then he'll reach enlightenment. So physically he'll live as though he's living with the Prophet ﷺ. He'll be a form of mercy for the people. With this, he will give preference to the command of Allah Azza wa Jal. He'll be given preference to the rights of the Prophet ﷺ. So when he purifies himself, his preference to the command of Allah will be more higher level than before. His love, his following of the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ will be at a much higher level. His compassion upon the creation will be at a higher level. His presence of Allah will be at a higher level. And at the end, our goal physically is to reach the pleasure of Allah Azza wa Jal. So this is like the summary which we went through. So I mentioned one aspect of the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the second aspect which this course is about is the spiritual aspect of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is the apex. This is the ascension, the miraj, the night journey to Allah Azza wa Jal. Because everything in the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has a lesson. Physically, how they lived their life, and spiritually how they traveled in the night journey, in Miraj, to the divine presence of Allah Azza wa Jal. So that also has a lesson for all of us. If you truly want to follow the beloved Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you should adopt both lives of form, the physical aspect and the spiritual aspect. So what is the spiritual aspect? So the spiritual aspect is like the model for all spiritual advancements. Every prophets and messengers had their own miraj. What is our miraj? Miraj is to really ascend to the divine presence of Allah Azza wa Jal. Miraj of the ummati is really where in salah. When you go in salah, you can reach the divine presence of Allah Azza wa Jal. And when you return, is as though you're still there. That is real presence of Allah Azza wa Jal. You live your life as though you're still in the spiritual world. Physically you are living, you're eating, you're drinking, you're conversing, you're doing the activities of dunya. But the whole mindset is as though you're really with Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the spiritual world. So this is the example of the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the spiritual life. And it serves as a universal master map of where we should be going. Like there's a master map in the physical world, in purification, in bringing the body, the mind, the heart, the soul in line with the characteristics, the sunnah, the physical form, the physical way of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There is a spiritual form that we should also abide with our spirits. With our spirits. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is buried in one place, in Medina Sharif. But don't you think that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam wants everyone to visit him? Everyone can visit him. And you all have access, especially the spiritually. And this is what we will be teaching. And there's many, alhamdulillah, muraqabah, how you can travel spiritually to the divine presence of Allah Azza wa Jal and to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and to their closeness. So spiritually there's a roadmap of the way of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So just to understand this, there are 3 levels of certainty. There are 7 or so mentioned here, which I won't go through, but there's 3 of them I will touch and we'll be looking at. The first one is ilmul yaqeen. So this is the information, the knowledge of certainty. When someone has given you a reliable knowledge, reliable information, and you believe. The Prophet ﷺ has given us reliable and certain knowledge of the unseen. We read it in books, we read it in the Quran. It's truth. Next level up is Ainul Yaqeen. Is when now you begin to see the eye of certainty. Not only you've heard now, but you are seeing the truth. You're seeing the veils unfold. This i'tikaf and retreat is to really unveil you in the world of spirits, the unseen. So you begin to see now. So now that level of certainty is raised higher now, because not only before you were listening and you heard and you just believed in it, but now you begin to see. You begin to see the truth. And the third level of certainty that we want to concentrate on is truth, is haqqul yaqeen. It's experiencing the reality of certainty. So now not only you've seen it, but you can taste, feel it, its presence. For example, I'll tell you, so everyone is fasting now. So if I told you that upstairs people are making kebabs for you, now automatically comes in your mind kebab. They're making very nice, delicious kebabs upstairs. I've seen now, and you know, they're making it grilled, and you know, it's going to be very tasty. So automatically the reliance or the truth, you know that this person who's telling you this, he's seen it for himself, he's witnessed it, and he's telling you, so it must be truth. You believe him. Then everyone gets called upstairs, and you walk up the stairs, and you see the brothers making the kebabs. And now you see the kebabs now. So now that truth that was before, now it's become reality in one respect. Because the eye of certainty has come now. So you can see this kebab being done, and I'm going to taste it for iftar now. So then afterwards, it could be taken away. So you sit down in ready to have your iftari and then you don't get that kebab. The experience will not be present. So the next level is when you experience, when the kebab is present and then you taste this kebab. You can taste the juice, you can taste the flavors. So now you are experiencing this for yourself. Before you only heard. So that was one level. Then you saw with your own eyes the kebab. And then the third level, you experienced this. So this is what we meant. That you experience this, then your level of certainty and truth becomes more higher level. So now you can tell everyone how this kebab in Bolton tastes when you go home. But then there will be ilmul yaqeen. Because they haven't not seen this kebab when you tell your family members. So then they come to the garage and they see the kebab and then they taste it. So then they experience such levels. So this is an example that we give you. And this is another example. The first degree is ilmul yaqeen, is that someone who gives you reliable information. So for example, someone comes to here and tells you there's a fire in the local forest in Bolton. And they tell you this. So this person is reliable. The scene in your mind is there, but you have not seen it. You only heard. So this person has reliable information. Then the next step is that you go past this forest and you can see the fire engine is there, the police is there, everyone is surrounding it. Now all of these people have ainul yaqeen, have the eye of certainty, because now they are seeing, they've heard from neighbors, they heard in the newspapers, the TV screens, but now they are there. So now they all seeing this for real. But for some people, they might be inside this forest. So their level will be even higher now, because they can not only feel the heat, the smoke, they are now experiencing that heat, they are now experiencing that level of certainty. So now this is the certainty. So on here, so there's we said three levels. Can someone tell me what are the three levels of certainty? So we just went through it now. I think everything should be fresh. So, Brother Tanim?
First one was ilmul yaqeen.
Yeah, and what is ilmul yaqeen?
Information.
Right.
So you either heard it, you've been told, or you've read it.
Right. Acha, mashallah. So information that is received, reliable information. Okay, second one, Brother Imran? Ainul yaqeen. So when you see something, now the level of certainty is a much higher level. And the final one we want to do is, third one, just call out. Haqqul yaqeen. It's to experience this now. And this is what our level, we should try to at least have ainul yaqeen in this, you could say this etikaf and this retreat. So this is a Quranic ayah. And also, once Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam asked Allah Azza wa Jal that, oh Allah, you can make dead become alive. I want to witness this. I want to see this for truth. So Allah Azza wa Jal commanded him, okay, find 4 birds and slaughter them and cut them in pieces and put them in different mountains. And once you have done that, then call their names. Call the bird's name, pigeon or etc. Then when Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam called the names of the bird, automatically all the pieces became together and the bird became alive. So their level of certainty was increased in one level, but this was a lesson for us, because their level of certainty of all the prophets and messengers was already high, but this lesson was for me and you. So Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam said that if Allah Azza wa Jal has given me the permission to call these birds and they become alive, what to say when Allah calls these birds, what would happen then? So this is the power who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to give. So once Hazrat Musa alayhi salam had this pain, and he asked Allah Azza wa Jal what he should do. So Allah Azza wa Jal said to him, go to so and so place and you'll find a plant. Use that plant. So he did, and the pain went. So a similar pain happened again. And he did the same thing. He went to that place and he used the plant. And he was wondering that, why isn't it not working? So Allah Azza wa Jal said that it is Allah who gives shifa, not the plant. So it is Allah's command. It makes everything alive. It's the light of Allah Azza wa Jal brings the light of everything else open. So we've mentioned about the three stage of certainty. So we'll go for the objective. So what is the objective of this etikaf or this spiritual ascension? What is the objective? The objective is to increase the degree of belief by seeing the unseen, by experiencing is to increase the belief, not changing the belief. The belief will still stay the same. Like here it's mentioned the belief on the angels, on Allah Azza wa Jal, on the prophets and messengers, the divine books, the hereafter. So these will stay the same, but the degree of certainty and the degree of belief will increase. For example, many people, we know that we have come from a different land, the world of spirits. Everyone has come in this life. Now, the Prophet ﷺ has mentioned about the akhirah, the punishment of the grave, the bliss of Jannah. But also people in this life have been told this. But why is it they are not going towards that? One of the reasons is that they not only hear about it, but they are witnessing certain aspects in dunya. So they see the attractions of dunya. They see cars, they see women. So because they are seeing with their eyes, the level of certainty is, I can see this now, I'll enjoy this now. Even though there's truth in the hereafter, but let me enjoy this. So their direction has gone towards Ainul Yaqeen because they are seeing this at this very moment. So many people have gone towards the dunya, attractions of dunya, because of what they've seen. But if I were to tell you that if you can experience a level of Jannah, when you see the hurs of Jannah, then the women of this world would be like what? The girlfriends, the women that people have, it will be nothing. Because you know there's something better for you in akhirah. Because you've seen this. People fight over lands of property because of this world. But when you, for your eyes to see what is your kingdom in Jannah, then you'll give everything away in this life. It will mean nothing. It will be petty to you. So their degree, whoever sees this life, their degree in Jannah is higher level. So imagine Sayyidina Abdul Qadir Jilani Rahmullah, when he was told, famous story, that when he was informed by one of his workers that you have lost all your property. It's been sunk in the ship. You've lost everything that you own. Did his degree of anything change? No. Because why? Because he's seen his place in Jannah. He's seen the properties in Jannah that he has. This world does not mean anything. If Jannah and Jahannam would be present to you, then how would you feel? How would your degree in this life be? How would your living in this life would be? How would your belief in Allah, your walking, your talking to your neighbors, how would that be? The rows that you have with your relatives, with your friends, with your parents, it would mean nothing. You'll make up straight away. So the whole point of this objective in the ascension is that the degree of belief is ascended. The degree of all the belief system that we have that Allah Azza wa Jal and the Prophet has laid down, it increases in level. So your attraction is not really of dunya, but is of akhirah. So this leads, you could say, the servant to increase his love and obedience and worship and become more sincere to Allah, to the people and everyone. So second objective of this ascension is to reach high proximity to the closeness of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is our aim, is to reach such levels of presence. Is as though the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is with us. This is such level. Is as though the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is with us. So you should all try and reach this level. And it comes to a level where you can communicate with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So everyone has a dream. Everyone that they want to see the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They want to be in his company. Imagine this dream. I'm sure every single one of you has this dream. And like Ustad Majid has mentioned, many even non-believers, before they came into Islam, they had the dream of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There's nothing special about them. You are also special because you are the servant of Allah. You being created in the reflection of Hazrat Adam alayhi salam. We have the same book, the Quran, the same message of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There's no difference. But the difference is what you want, what you give priority. Do you give priority to dunya and this life which is temporal, or do you give priority to reaching the closeness of Allah Azza wa Jal? Who do you give preference? This is the question. That's how you attain levels of closeness. It's up to you. It's not up to Allah Azza wa Jal as such. It's up to you how much you become close to Him, how much you want this closeness. So Sayyidina Abdul Qadir Jilani Rahmullah once mentioned that everyone can achieve closeness to Allah Azza wa Jal. Within 2 years you can reach this such closeness. 2 years, purification of the body, the mind, the heart. You can reach this closeness, which we say communicating with the Prophet 2 years. And now what's happened, we have ulamas. We always need a teacher to guide us. And we should try and find the best teachers to guide us. They should be able to lay the foundation of where they're going to take you. They should be teaching you and showing you that this is where you are and this is where you are going. Fully laid down. If you haven't got this, then you should find someone that can teach you this. Even Hazrat Sultan Bahu, they mentioned that a person can travel to Allah within 40 days if they listen to them. 40 days. And reach such proximity of the closeness of the Prophet and meeting the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. After doing the purification, if they listen, this is someone who listens to everything that the spiritual master tells him, he can reach within 40 days. And alhamdulillah, you've been given even greater chance. Even 3 days you can reach such divine levels of closeness through the barakah of Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabbar Rahmullah and our teachers, Hazrat Ahmad Dabbar. 3 days or so, 4 days, you can reach that proximity. Imagine this. No, has not even been given in this world as such previously, but not such masses. And even 40 days, we think, well, that's very quick, one can reach. But within 3-4 days, you have all been given some level you can attain, the level of Ainul Yaqeen, Haqqul Yaqeen, as such. So our level and proximity, the love of the Prophet ﷺ and communication should be at a higher level. And this is our objective, to reach some proximity of the Prophet ﷺ. And this will help us to follow the sunnah and the lifestyle of the Prophet ﷺ. So the fourth objective is that after learning these things, you all come back and become a mercy to the world. You are compassion upon the creation. The interaction between you and the people is different. You don't want anything from them, but they want everything from you, and you give it to them. It's like here is mentioned, rather he forgives the one who harms him, he returns the evil with goodness. Loves the one who ignores him, joins the ties with those who cut ties with him. He gifts the one who deprives him, he wills goodness for the one who wills destroy him. Imagine this. He becomes like a magnet to the creation. He becomes attracted to the humans, the jinns, the animals. It is this is attraction, is love. It was based on love. This is how the people came to the Prophet ﷺ. It was this. Because when it absorbed into the body, and it was absorbed anyway, this was the reflection it had on the creation. It attracted the people. The people of evil came and became the people of goodness. People of darkness came and they became the people of light. So that's how you can become when you reach such a proximity, when you reach the levels of the unseen, when you return your level of obedience, your level of conduct with the creation should be at a higher level. You become a magnet towards goodness. You become the representative of the Prophet ﷺ. This is how we all are. Soon as we say La ilaha illallah, we all take in this covenant. We become a representative. So now this is at a higher level. And the fourth objective is to do all of these things at the end of all ends. Infinite pleasure, that you seek the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal, that Allah is always with us, always present with us. You've never left the remembrance of Allah Azza wa Jal. This is how it is. Like Ustad Majid has mentioned, and our teachers, Hazrat Shaykh Ahmad Tabba, even when the thought of non-remembrance of Allah Azza wa Jal, even like Sayyidina Abdul Qadir Jalani Rahmullah, even a thought comes into their mind and it's not other than the remembrance of Allah Azza wa Jal, then they believe that the faith is gone. They believe that the uzu is gone. They believe that the Ramadan, the fast is gone. This is such high level that they were. Imagine that they never without the remembrance of Allah Azza wa Jal. So just quickly, this is the spiritual ascension. So as we mentioned, the prophetic ascension is that in the night of Miraj, the Prophet ﷺ ascended to the heavens and they went through the purification of the lataifs. This will be explained by Ustad Sajid after this, how we can do this. And there's about 7 to 11 spiritual entities in our bodies that is like an engine being switched on. So like everything needs to be switched on in order to go. Like a spaceship, these are like the body has switches. It needs to be turned on, then we can fly to the presence of Allah Azza wa Jal. So inshallah, this will be will be informed and taught to you after this advice. So then the Prophet ﷺ went to Masjid al-Nabawi. From there they went to the Kaaba Sharif, then Masjid al-Aqsa, and then beyond. So this is just the summary of the thing. Then they went for the first sky, second sky. This is like the spiritual ascension. This is where the Prophet ﷺ went through, and this should be our roadmap as well. These are like the signs that we should be passing. Like you see signs for Manchester, Bolton, Birmingham, A1, A6, etc. These are like the stations that you should be passing and reaching the ultimate aim, which is the divine presence of Allah Azza wa Jal. So this is like every the Kaaba, heavenly Kaaba. There is every Kaaba in every realm above, or every paradise. There's a Kaaba that the angels actually worship towards, the people of that paradise worship towards as such. This is a dome of Barzakh. This is where the end of Barzakh is. It's like like an ozone layer that covers the Barzakh all the way around. So even there's beyond this. So this is the lot tree, which is basically where the Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salam, this was the level that he could not go past as such, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam went beyond. Even in this tree is mentioned that every single one of us on this tree, our names are on the leaf is written. And when this comes down, this means that our life on this earth will end. So maybe our leaf has also fallen, and it is a matter of time that it reaches this life and will have to return. So this is the realm. This is why when the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, even before Abu Jahl and the evil people were killed, he mentioned where he will be buried, where he will enter, where he will die. Because the Prophet ﷺ saw the unseen and it was seen. Many of the people of unveiling, they can see these things. So these are different realms of Jannah that is mentioned here. Everyone knows Jannatul Firdaus, and there's other levels of Jannah, 8 levels of Jannah. And then you have the Kursi, the divine chair of Allah Azza wa Jal. So even there's beyond this as well. So we only know up to maybe the throne, the divine throne of Allah Azza wa Jal, the Arsh, we only know. But even above Arsh, there are many realms. There's many realms of the unseen, veils. There's many names of Allah Azza wa Jal that we have not even heard of. It's like Sayyidina Abdul Aziz, the Barahmullah, with every blink of an eye, they used to see 100,000 names of Allah Azza wa Jal, which has not been revealed in this dunya. And anytime they blink again, they used to see another 100,000, and it was not the same name on their previous blink as well. Different names. Infinite names of Allah Azza wa Jal. Imagine to see these names, you have to attain some sort of, you can say some sort of closeness, a marifah of Allah Azza wa Jal. Imagine how much marifah that Sayyidina Abdul Aziz the Barahmullah had and has. What to say about us? We can reach such levels as well to one extent. But you, the one who has to want this as well. So everyone has to want this. And it all is based, firstly, as we mentioned, is based on purification of the body. And then the ascension of the ruh can actually release. And these are different realms. I'll just go. And then you have the realms, even servanthood, station of servanthood. We think, oh, we are a servant. Even servant is a very high level, very high. To be even called a servant in the world of spirits is such a high level. Even there, the station Abudiyya, the station of Servitude, the station of Abudiyya, you can say the inner servitude is the inwardly you actually want the goodness for everyone. Because people only want goodness for themselves sometimes. I just want to reach Allah, I don't want no one else to. I'll only tell them some of the stuff. But imagine our mashayikh, they are such that they want us to also reach such levels. These things that you are learning, these were secrets before, but it's been revealed to you. Such mercy, such wisdom, they want, our mashayikhs, they want you to also attain this. They want to spread this closeness that they had and they have. So inshallah, there's different levels of this, and at the end goal is to reach the pleasure of Allah. This should be our utmost. It doesn't matter about stations or worlds. Your aim is to reach these things. This is like the summary of the whole path towards Allah Azza Jal. So in any world, you always need a guide. Like you see in this world, in order to even go to drive a plane, to ride a plane, you need a guide. Because if you do not have the training, then you'll crash. You destroy everyone else who's aboard that plane as well. So many people want to visit the world of spirit. This is a world. It's not even a land or anything in this world. In this world, there's people like, example of some people, they have tour guides. They have tour guides they hire or they want, or teachers to teach them about places, ancient times. And these places sometimes are very dangerous, like in Jerusalem or Syria or Iraq. You want to go there to learn about the history. You need a guide to show you where not to take you to the dangerous places, where they will know you will be stopped, where they know you'll be kidnapped. So they won't take you to this place. They are expert in that field. Like what to say about survival in this dunya. I'm sure you've heard about the adventurer Bear Grylls, who he does documentaries on survival. He does documentary on survival of how to survive in very harsh conditions in forests, in climate conditions, how to eat. They even eat the snakes and stuff like this, just to survive, ants or scorpions or whatever. But he teaches this how to survive in harsh climate, harsh terrain, and even famous people actually hire him. Oh, I could never visit this land, so would you come with me? And now he's made a whole documentary how to teach these people. But what to say about the spiritual world when no one has really known? You need an expert in this field. And these are the mashayikhs, these are the awliya who's been to these lands. So this is why it's important to have a guide who knows, who's been, and who can explain your whole roadmap where you are going. So as you come return to this world, your level of obedience, your level of prayer should be at a higher level. That's why you can say the miraj or salah and miraj is taught to you as well. You should be at a higher level. Your zakat should be higher. Your fasting should be higher. So all of these things should be at a higher level when you return. When you have seen now, not only you've heard now, you've experienced now, then you should truly become the embodiment when you return to this world. You should become, when people see you, is as though they are seeing the hereafter. This is how it, and this is how it should be. When they see you, it is as though they are seeing the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When they see you, it is as though they are seeing the companions. It should remind you. You should be a reminder for everyone. That's how it should. This is how you truly become a servant of Allah Azza wa Jal. So this is like a gift, the station of da'wah. Then you return to this world and you give da'wah. And this has been all the basis of love. This is the message of all the prophets and messengers, that they returned to this world and they conveyed the message. And the gift of salah was given to us by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The gift of ascension was given to us. So now we have a gift. If I told you you have a gift, the question would be, when are you going to use that gift? Someone gives you a gift, a chadar. Someone gives you a dress, a jubba. When will you wear this gift? Are you going to lock it and leave it in the cupboard? And I'll wear it when I get married. I wear it when I have kids. I wear it when I go umrah. You'll never be worn. You'll never experience this. You'll never see the beauty in this. So every one of us has a gift from Allah Azza wa Jal, from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is the divine truth of how to ascend, how to follow him physically and spiritually. So we should use these gifts of knowledge, use these gifts of experiencing before Ramadan ends. So this is like the full map of your ascension towards Allah Azza wa Jal. So this should be a roadmap. This should be like, where am I? Am I reaching, you could say prophetic, command? This actually goes hand in hand with the physical life of the Prophet. So has my beliefs been corrected? Am I repenting? Have I repented? Am I striving? Is my tongue following the tongue of the Prophet? Then if it isn't, then don't expect anything in the spiritual world. If your body is not abiding, then really we should not expect anything. But rather, if we are given something and we see something in the spiritual world, we should use this to become more steadfast physically in this life. This is the whole point, is that you use everything that you've been given. Spiritually you see, you witness, and physically you embody this, and it becomes a sunnah. So this is the whole roadmap. So just to summarize this, is that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there's two main descriptions, two main ways of following the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Example, one is their physical form, which they sent down, the belief, who we should follow, how to live our life. So that is bringing our bodies, our minds, our spirit in line in the characteristics of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Our body should be in line with the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And second aspect is that how the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam ascended to the heavens, and spiritually how we can reach this realm, that we can experience. And there's 3 levels of this. 3 levels. One of them is the knowledge, ilmul yaqeen. Second is ainul yaqeen, to actually see this now into action, see the veils unfolding. And third is to experience this now, converse, taste some of the world of the unseen, and then use this in our daily life. So this is like a whole roadmap towards the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and at the end of all ends is to attain the pleasure of Allah Azza wa Jal in this life, in the hereafter, before we return to Him. Like I said, we do not know if the leaf of our name has already been coming off this tree and is descending down. So do not waste time. Use this Ramadan, use this itikaf, use this retreat to really ascend, really change your life. Like you see this life, the odd nights have come. Laylatul Qadr is, this is one of the nights, one of the days. Now let the Laylatul Qadr come into you by changing. Make a start on your progression. Make a start on your journey. Don't just wait in the background. Wait behind the signs. People wait behind the signs and they miss the bus. They miss the bus. They wait behind the sign and they're looking here and there. And then when the bus comes, they miss it. So every day is not going to be coming like this. So don't miss your bus to the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't miss your conveyance to the presence of Allah Azza wa Jal. So may Allah Azza wa Jal enable all of us to reach His closeness and His proximity to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, truly become an embodiment of the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and really follow him, not work physically but spiritually become an embodiment of him. And please forgive me if I've said anything wrong. Any wrongdoing is from myself, and all good that you've heard is all from Allah Azza wa Jal and the Mashayikh, and all really thanks to them that we have learnt some aspect, and we are still learning that how a person become a true servant of Allah Azza wa Jal. So inshallah we'll take, if there's any questions relating to what I've said only, it shouldn't really be about the whole map, but really about if something you haven't understood, about the levels of certainty, the opening, if you understood. But sometimes things will be more understood on the methodology of how you can attain this, inshallah, on the next session. If you don't have any questions now, next session is the methodology of how you can ascend. So I've only told you the roadmap. This is the map. How you're going to get there, what vehicle you need to enter, will be told to you in the next thing, inshallah. How you can enter your vehicle and travel, this is the next slide, and the next discourse, inshallah. So if there is any question, you may ask. If not, then we will finish, and inshallah we'll begin the next course. Subhanaka bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Jazakallah.
I think looks like everybody